Hey guys, it's Ryan from the Mavericks. This is podcast episode 3. So today we'll be talking about clarity. And yesterday we were mentioning in Seizing the Day about having goals. And that the clearer your goals are, the more able you are to assign the right tasks necessary to take a step forward towards achieving them. So rather than being busy and running around in circles, you'll be productive, where you take one step closer to the goal. But that all depends on whether you have a very clear understanding of your goals. And so I want to touch on this topic today and talk to you about 7 points in regards to clarity. So the first thing is, I just really want to convey to you the power of the brain. All right. You know when you go to sleep at night in your house and you hear a very normal creak, you don't really get up from sleep, right? But if in that same night you hear a creak or a door open that you've never heard before, no matter how deep in sleep you are, you will get up. Now just sit on this for a bit. Your brain is constantly assessing thousands, maybe even millions of inputs per second. Everything that you see, everything that you hear, everything that you touch, feel, smell, temperature, what you've eaten, everything. Your brain is processing all this information. And all of it is being filtered through an organ in the brain called the thalamus. And the thalamus is what determines what you pay attention to and what you don't. But what I mean by that is, it's not that the brain hasn't registered it. It's that the thalamus determines what goes to your conscious brain so that you're conscious of it and what doesn't. So for example, going back to this sleeping in your bed at night and hearing a creak that is completely normal, your brain is listening all the time for anything that's happening around the house. It's just that it does not tell the thalamus that this creak is anything to be concerned about. But if there's a strange door that opens, or a door that opens that normally doesn't, in the middle of the night, even in deep slumber, your brain is still listening and will send a signal to the thalamus that what it just heard is something worth being worried about. The same thing applies, especially even if you're eating food, for example. When you eat food, you don't really pay attention to it, right? Everything's fine. But it's when you go through indigestion, your body is taking all these signals from the chemical receptors in your stomach lining to tell your brain something is wrong. Like you might have acid reflux or you might have indigestion or anything like that. And then all that goes to your thalamus to tell you, boom, this is something to be aware of, right? So your brain is an unbelievable organ that is able to pick up on all these tiny little different things that are happening around you in your environment. This is the power of the brain. Now, the reason I bring up fear is because fear is really the emotion, or not emotion, the state that the brain really uses this power. Fear is the state of the body where this dichotomy between being aware and being unaware is really visible, really explainable. So just understand, everybody has a sense of fear. This fear is actually a gift in us because it actually shows us how powerful our brain is in being able to understand our environment around us and what we have to be aware of and what we don't. So that's the first point. I want you to just think about how powerful the brain is. The second point is that this brain of yours, as I mentioned to you, is constantly assessing information. So just to dig in a little deeper, it is constantly assessing the brightness of the sky, right, whether it's daytime or nighttime, your local environment, what kind of people are walking around, what you can hear, how loud sounds are, how far away sounds are, how much activity there is around you, the temperature of the air, the humidity in the air. So whether you should sweat or whether you should overheat. Your brain is also assessing, the movement of your muscles and how many calories you've digested, what kind of food you've eaten. If you've eaten something that you're intolerant to, your stomach chemical receptors will pick up on that and then inform your brain that this is something that you shouldn't have eaten. Right? Your brain is constantly being aware of the environment. And it, as I mentioned to you before in the last point, it is taking in so much information. Now, I'll tell you how this gets to clarity in a bit. But I just really want to step into this point that the brain is an extremely powerful organ that can pick up on a bunch of signals all around you. So now, how does this relate to clarity? When, in life, right, all the lucky breaks, that you ever need, all the opportunities you ever need are always there in front of you. They're always just walking around you, right? It could be the person walking beside you. It could be the person you go to work with. It could be the uncle of the person that you work with. There are opportunities and lucky breaks sitting all around you. The only thing is though, do you know that it's an opportunity? Do you know if it's a lucky break? Not unless you're very clear in your goals, right? So for example, I'm very interested in getting into the hotel industry. And the reason is because I want to do an entrepreneurial project with the hotel industry where I want to open up hotels in Toronto, New York, London, Tokyo, and then resorts across India. It was not until I got very specific in the hotel industry that a regular client of mine that comes to our barbershop, who I usually just talk to him about, the daycare things that his daughter and my son go through. And normally that's all we talked about. But one day when I was very clear with what I said, and I said I wanted to get into the hotel business, and he said, what's interesting? We should sit down for coffee because my job is actually helping people get financing to buy large real estate projects, like hotels, like apartment buildings. And this completely blew my mind because the person that I had been chatting with for 2 years about daycare was also the person that could help me get a hotel, only because I was very clear on what I wanted to get. On another occasion, I had a family friend that I met for the first time, and we were chatting, and he came from Sri Lanka. And as we were chatting, we got into careers. And as we got into careers, I found out that he was very knowledgeable in the hotel industry, that right now he was working in like the venue part of the industry, like halls and wedding venues and whatnot, and he wanted to get into the 5-star hotel business, which is what I wanted to get into. And then we were really able to dig into that topic, but only because I knew that I wanted to get into hotels. I was very clear on those goals. So I believe there are opportunities floating all around you. There are lucky breaks floating all around you. It's not that some people get luck and other people get luck. Everybody gets luck. Everybody gets opportunities. It's just that you have to know that what you're looking at is an opportunity or is a lucky break. So just take it for your side. If you wanted to buy a business, if your dream was to buy a business, there are many businesses that are on sale right now. But if you did not know that your goal was to buy a business, then anytime a sale of a business comes up, you would never pay attention to it. If your goal was to buy an apartment building, there are apartment buildings, there are real estate properties that are for sale, but unless your goal is to get into real estate investing and specifically apartment building investing, when that opportunity comes up, you will never actually take a look at it. You won't ever be aware of it. A person might walk by, you will never say it, and they'll never tell you that they are the person that can help you get a building. This is why it's very important to have very specific goals, because when you have specific goals, opportunities and lucky breaks suddenly start to pop up. They're not popping up. They were always there. It's just that you were clear enough to actually uncover it. Fourth point. Fourth point I was supposed to talk about hotels. So that was in reference to the hotels. Now, fifth point. Manifestation. In the last video, I said that I had my own beliefs about manifestation. Simply put, I don't believe in manifestation. I'm a faithful Catholic. I believe that God is in charge of everything. But I do believe, like I said, going back to opportunities and lucky breaks, that everybody is going down a river of opportunities and lucky breaks. They say one man's trash is another man's treasure. Everybody is going through a river of lucky breaks and opportunities. You just have to know what you want before those opportunities and lucky breaks show up for themselves, right? Show up themselves. So I don't believe in manifestation. I believe that everybody has access to these lucky breaks and opportunities. You just need to know what you're looking for. Now finally we can get to clarity. So when you set a goal, right? Say for example you say, I want to own or I want to be a general manager at a 5-star hotel in Toronto. This is a buy this year, and I want to be making $50,000 to $80,000 a year. This is a very specific goal. The more specific you are, again, the more the lucky breaks and opportunities will come up that you'll be able to identify, but also the less likely you are to settle. Now, for example, if I say with surety, with clarity, that I want to be a hotel general manager at a 5-star hotel in Toronto by the end of this year making this much money, what's going to happen is, this is what I want to do. So I have a neighbor that actually works at a hotel, and because I was very clear on what I wanted, I just went up to my neighbor and I said, "Hey, do you think I can get a job as a front desk reception person at a hotel? Because then that could be my way to get into the hotel business, especially the five-star hotel business." Only because I knew what I was looking for. Now, say for example, so I've got this hotel general manager thing I'm looking for, and somebody says, "Hey Ryan, I got a $50,000 job or an $80,000 job being, a data entry clerk." If I am not specific, if I just said I wanted an $80,000 salary, I would jump on that opportunity. I would jump on that and say I want to be a data entry clerk. And then I might miss the opportunity that would come up where the person says, "You can be a front desk person at a hotel, at a five-star hotel," right? Because I didn't identify that I wanted to be a front desk person at a five-star hotel. So if I just say, I just want the salary, then any job that comes up that fits that salary requirement, I'll take. But that means I settled, because I'm not really happy with what I got. You have to very clearly write down what you want. So then I go back and I say, no, I want to make a certain salary, but I wanted to be in the hotel business. All right, you can be a cleaner, or you can be a maintenance person, or whatnot. But I'm like, no. What I want to get into, and you might take those roles. You might take those roles, you might settle, because you're not very clear, right? But say you say, no, I want to be front desk reception because I really want to get into the hospitality service side. Okay, then when somebody comes up and says, "I got a salary, I got a job for you that fits your bill, and it's in the hotel business, will you take it? But it's in Kitchener." If I'm not very specific about the location, then I'll take the Kitchener location. And I'll be unhappy, because in my head I really wanted the Toronto location, but I didn't specify. And I'll be like, no. And then finally one day somebody will come up to me and say, "Listen, I got a Toronto hotel front desk job paying you $50,000 to $80,000 a year, will you take it?" And I'll be like, "Yes, I'll take that." Because I was very specific. I'll give you another example. Say you want a Cadillac, right? Earl Shove talks about this in his video. Say you want a Cadillac. All right, I got a little toy model for you. No. I want a real Cadillac. Okay, why didn't you tell me? Here's a real Cadillac, 1948, broken, you'll need to put a new engine in. No, man, I want a working 2023 Cadillac. Well, you gotta be specific. Here's a green one. You want no green one? I want a black one with tinted windows and like with AC and a beige interior or a white interior. And I want it to have all the perks. Well, what perks? I don't know, trims and the most top level trim of the vehicle and all these extra features and whatever. Then suddenly when that vehicle comes up, you'll be like, that's what I want. Because if you just say you want a Cadillac, any Cadillac that shows up will come up to you and be like, okay, maybe that's the Cadillac I want. Maybe I'll just settle for that Cadillac. But if you say, no, I want this specific model, okay, when the models show up, you might just pick any one. No, I want a specific year and a specific model. Then when that year and model come up, you might just pick any one with any. You might pick those ones, but with the wrong color. But then when you pick the color and you pick the interior and you pick all the details, then it's only when that car comes into view that you zero in and you realize, boom, that's the vehicle I need, right? So now, going back to the beginning about the fear-based brain and the brain's ability to take in all these pieces of information from around you and then determine what is a lucky break and what's an opportunity. Do you see how, when you are very, very, very specific on the goals you want, what ends up happening is your brain literally looks for, in the environment, all the parameters, all the opportunities that will get you one step closer to that goal, even if you're not consciously doing it. It'll do it unconsciously. Like, as an example, I was planning for the triathlon, right? So I said I want to finish a triathlon, and then when I went swimming back and forth, I saw a gentleman at the pool, and I said hi to him, right? And he was like 83 years old. And he says hi back, and as I'm swimming, he starts to make small corrections for me, like, make sure you swim like this, looks like you're getting tired over here, maybe you can fix that. And I keep swimming. And he says, "You know what, I think you can swim across Lake Ontario." I'm like, haha, I need to learn how to swim in Guelph Lake, because I'm doing a triathlon. And that's when he drops this amazing fact on me. He's a 10-time Ironman. He's a 10-time Ironman who completed the Hawaii Ironman at the age of 70. And now he was 83 years old. This 10-time Ironman was starting to became my coach for swimming. All because I was very clear of what I was going to achieve. I was going to do a triathlon. And he was able to see that conviction in my eyes and then be able to give me information that would help me to swim. And guess what happened? It was because of his coaching that I was able to finish the swim portion. Right? So I was very clear on my goals, and suddenly an opportunity was right there. The opportunity was right there. And here's another example. So when we were doing the interior design of the barbershop, I wanted my barbershop to look a lot like a neighboring restaurant in the area. But the thing was, I never went into the restaurant to see what it exactly looked like. I just heard really good things about it, a lot of black and gold, and our shop was black and gold. So I thought, man, it would have been nice if I had gone in there to just check it out. I ended up finding out 2 years later that 2 doors down from me is the contractor who built the interior of that restaurant. And had I met him, or had I said hi to him or talked to him about my business project and what I really wanted 2 years ago, he would have connected me with the interior designer who could have helped me design the interior of the shop so it matched that restaurant. Right? The lucky opportunity was right there. He was 2 doors down. But I didn't know what I wanted. And so the conversation never came up, and that opportunity passed by. This exists for everybody. As long as we know what exactly we're looking for, your brain will unconsciously hone in and target all those different parameters, all those different environmental factors, all those opportunities and lucky breaks needed for you to get to the next step, just because you were very clear about it. And now my final point in regards to clarity is decisiveness. When you are very clear on what you want, you can very easily say yes, no to certain things. Very quickly. You don't have to worry about maybe anymore. So if somebody says, hey, I want, like say for example, you want to get in the best shape of your life, and you're very clear about it, you want to get there in about 16 weeks, and there's very little room for error. And you have people saying, come on, let's go hang out every Friday and have a barbecue and have drinks. If you're very clear on what you want, that's an easy no. Right? That's an easy no. If someone tells you, hey, let's sign up for a marathon or a triathlon, or let's sign up for some kind of physical fitness or endurance event, that's going to be very easy yes. Right? The ability to say yes and no, and to avoid maybes, the reason leaders, especially executive leaders at the very highest levels of business, can say yes and no so quickly to such massive projects with such massive implications and consequences is because they are very clear on where the company is supposed to go. So if a company is supposed to go towards direction A, and somebody comes in with an opportunity B that would veer the company off in a different direction, a very, very clear and a highly convicted, or not convicted, but a CEO with a strong conviction will be able to say no to the opportunity and continue to pursue what is required to get to the destination A, because he's very clear. I'll leave you with one more point that just came to mind. The CEO of General Electric, there's about 172,000 employees at General Electric. Of the 172,000 people, one person has been chosen to lead them all, right? The chief executive officer. That whole company based all those people, they get up at maybe 6 a.m., they drop their kids off at daycare, they may go to the gym, and then they go to work for a certain time, they do their work, they leave their work, and they come home. They have their lunch breaks when they're supposed to, they have their breaks when they're supposed to, they finish their projects on time. They do all of this, they have to manufacture their whole week around one person's vision, right? All 172,000 employees has to center, or not center, but they have to work their schedule around the requirements of one human being, the CEO of General Electric. Why? Because the CEO of General Electric has such a clear vision of where the business needs to go in 10 to 20 years that the whole company puts their trust in him to direct the company in the right direction, to take the company in the right direction. So when people get up to work and do their projects, they don't think much about it. They just do what they're told to. Or they may come up with innovative ideas that they want to contribute to the company, but they do so because they have a clear understanding of the vision in mind. But whose vision? The CEO's vision, right? Leaders of large businesses and leaders of politics and governments and countries and militaries, those top leaders, the overwhelming defining factor that separates them from every other human being is their level of clarity. It's almost inhuman. It's somewhat crazy. They will say that they want to get somewhere that nobody else in the world can see. But they have such a strong conviction that they can get there that everyone believes them and follows them. Right? This is the power of clarity. And the leaders in business and the military and the government have the strongest level of, the clearest level of clarity, if I can put it that way. Right? Their clarity is the most clear you could ever get. And interestingly, they're also flying at the highest altitudes. So we can get very clear when we get down into the nitty-gritty and are looking at one task at one time. These people have inhuman clarity at inhuman heights. Like the CEO of General Electric, again, is able to coordinate the efforts of 172,000 people through his intermediaries, right? He's able to coordinate all their efforts and see the whole direction that GE is going, and if it's going in the direction he believes it needs to go. So he has the greatest amount of clarity at the greatest height. That's what you want to do. This is a very hard concept to grasp, and it's almost like asking you to be Superman, right? You need to be able to see very far, very clear, as if you have microscopic vision with a telescopic range. If you want to get to the top levels of business, and you want to make a lot of money, us Mavericks, we need to get an insane level of clarity. We need to get a level of clarity that is so clear it is almost inhuman. And we need to have that at such a height that even that height is inhuman. So going back through the beginning, all these 7 points. So remember, when you go to sleep, right, your brain is listening all the time. It is only when something abnormal comes up that it goes to the thalamus and warns you that something's wrong, right? So the brain is always aware. This is how your brain works, right? Your brain is taking in thousands and millions of inputs from all systems in your body in order to tell you whether something is worth being concerned about or not. This same system that helps you spot dangers in the environment also helps you spot opportunities, right? Just a short segue, like for example, if you were in the forest and you were looking for food, what is your brain going to look for? It's going to look for any opportunity that where there's food available, right? It's going to focus on that. It's not going to look for, your brain is not going to look for investment opportunities when you're stuck in a forest. It's not focused on that. It's focused on one thing, getting you food. So your brain is going to be able to spot opportunities as long as you're very clear on that, right? And so when you're stuck in the forest, it's very clear that you want to eat. It's very clear that you need water. It's very clear you need firewood. It's very clear you need shelter. So that's all the stuff your brain's going to spot. What are you very clear about that you want your brain to spot in life? Now, again, I talked to you about the hotel business where I was looking to get into a management role in the hotel business, but starting from the ground up. And all I had to do was be very clear about it. And then all of a sudden, I talked to my neighbor, I talked to a family friend, and now I'm a few steps closer towards achieving that. And my thoughts on manifestations, I don't believe in manifestation, but I do believe that there are lucky breaks and opportunities for everybody, and we're all swimming in it. It might look like trash circumstances to you, but actually those are treasure circumstances for other people. And other people's trash circumstances are your treasure circumstances. The only difference is, or not the only difference, the only thing is, you have to be very clear about what you want so that you can see someone else's trash as an opportunity. Someone might badmouth their opportunity. Someone might badmouth what they're going through, which might be your opportunity. You want to be clear, because then you avoid settling, right? When you're very clear about what you want, you won't take options that don't fit the exact bill that you're looking for. And the more clear you are, the more narrowed in, the more precise your brain will get at what it's looking for. And lastly, if you are very clear on what you want, you will be very decisive. It will be very easy to say yes or no. It will be very easy to avoid a maybe. It is when things are very vague that, yes or no's become very difficult and maybes become very easy. All right? So this is Ryan from the Mavericks. Today we talked about clarity. I hope you found this podcast helpful. And one more thing before we go, if you want to sign up to our newsletter where we talk about subjects like this, go to mavericks.goldwynandsons.com, and there you'll see a sign-up page where you can sign up to our newsletter. In that newsletter, I'll send you a free PDF that talks about the golden formula, the formula for success that multimillionaires and entrepreneurs use to actually get to financial freedom. Thanks again. Take care. Bye.